On this segment of Hearts, Hope, and Home, I'm joined with Christian Garcia, the Chief Programming Officer of St. Francis Ministries. So thank you so much for taking the time to talk about your mission and what you guys do for the community.
Absolutely. No, thank you for this segment and the opportunity to talk about how we collectively work to support children and families in this area.
Yes. So I just want to get right into it. You know, for someone who is out there that may not know what St. Francis Ministries is, can you give us a little spiel on what that is?
Yeah, we appreciate this collaboration a lot. I think that's really talked about the crux of the issue, and that is children and families in our community, right? That's something we deeply care about. St. Francis actually started in 1945 in what was a ministry that served 12 young boys. Initially, is now serving 12,000 children and families across the nation in 6 different states. And so very proud of our work here in the Panhandle and the work that we do here to really support children and families. We actually became a single source continuum contractor in 2019. And what that does is that oversees after a child is removed from the home, it oversees all permanency from that moment on. And so our team members work diligently, our leadership works well in the community to make sure that we have proper placements and proper supports and that children in safe environments.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you know, we were talking a little bit earlier, now you are the Chief Programming Officer, but you were one of the first employees for this area, is that correct?
That's right,
Talk about that. That is so exciting just to see, you know, that growth from there until now.
Well, what turned from one office to now multiple offices and multiple programs, it's just been great to have the opportunity to serve in that capacity. And so we started off really with a small child placement agency, and then we've had that continuously progress and support children and families, specifically in the kinship, those relatives of children that we have in our system. We've also expanded our prevention work, so really serving all 41 counties in prevention, and proud to say that we've kept over 300 children from entering the foster care system. And there's some tremendous organizations that also do prevention work in this community as well. And so we're walking alongside those individuals and those organizations, but really trying to keep families whole. And then we have our, our single source continuum contract where we see the continuum of services, and that just proud to have the opportunity to connect. We also brought another program here that a lot of folks don't know about, and it's called Fatherhood Fire. And that's where we actually get to engage fathers in our systems. They don't have to be involved with us. They just need community fathers to get them the necessary training and skills to be a best version of themselves for their children.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness, that is so cool. And you know, just speaking of community, obviously that's a very important topic for St. Francis Ministries. And so community, can you kind of touch on that and just what you guys aim to accomplish, in our area? Yeah,
I think it's a great conversation. So there is community-based care is what the state has titled this, right? And so how do we give back what truly belongs to community, and that's its well-being of children and families, right? And so I like to say we're more community-focused. Community-based invites people to the table. Community-focused actually does something in our community to help facilitate that. So working with our partners in this area, but also just engaging and being part of the community, right? Community-focused also gives a portion of its time and talents to the community as well. And so really looking at a community-focused approach, we have some tremendous partners that have been in this community and around this community for years. And so whether they're doing prevention or they're taking care of children or they're a support service to us, all that comes together to do what we need in order to make sure that permanency is established for children and families and that they're remaining whole. And so I think it's such an important task to make sure that we're kind of the hub around that, or we're at least engaging in that effort.
Yes, and you know, I want to talk a little bit just about the programs you offer, just as Chief Programming Officer. Can you go into just a little bit about what you guys provide for the community?
Yeah, so again, we talked a little bit earlier about our prevention program. We actually use an evidence-based practice model called family-centered treatment, which is a highly rated evidence-based practice where we actually are in the home working with families who are actually in the process of having children removed. And so we get the opportunity to connect, work, and get to establish positive outcomes. I believe 95% of the families we engage actually stay together.
Wow.
So it's tremendous work that we're doing to keep families whole. but also restoring some of those major components, right, that are often missed. I think the biggest piece of that is, to me, or always will be, is changing a generation, right? We know that family dynamic is complex.
Yes.
And so if you can offer an opportunity for somebody to end their trauma cycle, end their abuse cycles, then we create a different system for their children, right? And so really healing generations moving forward. So that's something to be really excited about. I think as anybody would be excited about that. Our Fatherhood Fire, like I said earlier, really engages our dads through a curriculum, Fathers in His Community. That's a free service. You can go to our website and figure out how to really just sign up or engage in that process. That's a federal award. And so we're excited to have the opportunity to do that here. And in foster care homes, right? We have tremendous providers in this community that offer support to families that are taking on the challenge of taking children that are not theirs, right? I mean, they're really a resource to their community. And so I think the positivity in that, there's tremendous providers who are doing that here. Yes. We also do that here as well. And so we're happy to engage and work in that aspect, but I would encourage anybody who's interested in fostering to check out all the agencies and figure out which one's best for them.
Yes, so now I kind of want to talk just a little bit about you. I mean, this work, obviously it's so rewarding, but it can also be tough and challenging. What has it been like for you, you know, to experience that? I'm sure, like you said, like every day is different.
Absolutely.
And you know, some days are going to be harder than others, whereas sometimes you have a lot of good and positive and happy news. Yeah. What has it been like to just experience all of that as a whole?
I think it's humbling, to be honest. The work of working with humans is difficult, right? It's naturally meant to be that way. But that's okay. I think if you can look at the beautiful moments in every interaction, right, you can actually see positivity in everything we do. And I think that's hard for people, right? Because we live in this world where we kind of fixate on the things that are going wrong. And so I think in order to keep sound in this, you have to focus on the positive while having a strategy for the things that are going wrong, right? Just because it goes wrong doesn't mean it's going to go away. Yeah. And so you have to figure out how to work through that while seeing the beautiful moments of adoption occurring, right? Or a child reunified, or a family remaining together, or that child who just, or young adult or young teen who's made that shift from working through their trauma to be the best version of themselves. And so you have to live in those stories and actually take a step back and, number one, listen to them, see them, and really live in them to make sure that you're staying in a good spot to continue this work well.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I mean, I think it's all about just raising the awareness for these issues in our community. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. Well, thank you for joining us for Hearts, Hope, and Home. We'll see you next time.